We had been out there for days, pushing through dense forests and barren hills, following leads, only to come back empty-handed. Nothing. No signs, no traces, just endless miles of wilderness. But now, as we approached the base, something felt off. The military compound, usually buzzing with activity, was eerily quiet. Our Humvee rolled to a stop in front of the command building, and the weight of the silence pressed against me. My team, Sergeant Harper, Corporal Dawson, Specialist Patel, Private Ellis, and Private Jameson, had been through a lot together. We were a unit, a family forged in the fire of combat and shared experiences. But now, standing in front of base command, something wasn't right. I felt it in the air. "Stay sharp," I muttered under my breath, locking eyes with each of my team. We were all looking for the same thing, any sign of the abnormal. We had spent days tracking something we couldn't explain, so it was hard not to feel like we were being watched. And just as we stepped out of the vehicle, the door to the command building swung open. Our commanding officer, Colonel Harris, stood framed in the doorway, his eyes scanning us like a hawk. "Private Carter," he called, his voice cold, but with a sharp edge to it. "Good to see you back, but something's not right here." I glanced over at my team, trying to read their expressions, but they all seemed confused, just like me. I stepped forward, trying to keep my composure. "Sir, we didn't find anything out there. No shapeshifters, no anomalies, just," I trailed off, unsure how to explain the unsettling feeling that had lingered in the pit of my stomach. The sense that something wasn't right had been creeping in for hours now. The colonel cut me off, his face darkening. "You're telling me there's 6 of you here right now?" My mind raced. "Yes, sir." 6. "You see the whole team? Harper, Dawson, Patel, Ellis, Jameson, and me." He didn't blink, his gaze now turning steely. "No. There were only 5 of you when you left." I felt the blood drain from my face. There was a moment of stunned silence as the realization hit me. The others around me tensed up too, their confusion growing into something darker. I turned to look at my team, my mind scrambling for some logical explanation. But every single one of us looked just as puzzled. There was no mistake. We had all left as a 6-man unit, and we had all returned. "Sir, I'm telling you," I began, trying to steady my voice. "We are all here, all 6 of us." Colonel Harris stepped forward, his jaw clenched. "Then explain why your manifest says you left with only 5 soldiers. Explain why the base's security footage shows only 5 of you boarding the vehicle this morning." A cold chill ran through me, and for the first time in my career, I began to feel truly afraid. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. I didn't know how or why, but this wasn't the same as any mission we'd ever had. We weren't just dealing with the unknown out there in the wilderness. Now, it was here with us, inside the base, inside our own minds. "Where's the 6th member of your team?" Harris asked, his eyes narrowing. I swallowed, turning my gaze back to the others. There was a moment of silence. Jameson, the quietest of us all, shifted his weight. He looked off. "We are all here, sir," he said softly, but his voice seemed distant, like he wasn't entirely sure himself. "Where's Jameson?" Patel asked sharply, her eyes scanning the team. I turned back. Jameson wasn't standing where he had been a moment ago. I blinked. My heart stopped for a second. Jameson wasn't there. And then I realized there was no one who looked like Jameson. None of us had seen him leave. But his absence had only just become obvious. "Jameson?" I asked, my voice trembling. Silence answered me. The colonel stepped back slowly, his eyes narrowing like he was piecing something together, the horror settling in. "Where's Jameson? Where the hell is your 6th member?"